we defined our very first function. It was called draw circle. And just like Carol, you can define as many functions as you want. Any problem you're solving, you probably will enjoy creating one or two helper functions. And now that you can pass in information, there's all sorts of wonderful things that you can create. This draw circle we defined happens to be very useful. You can use it in all sorts of graphics programs. I imagine you'll use it a bunch of times, maybe even in section this week. Um, and you can really think of it as like the turn right of graphics. It's like that function that is so useful. Once you define it, it'll just make graphics programs easier and easier. As I mentioned, it's not the only function you can define. I want to show you something a little bit playful. This is certainly a little bit advanced. So we drew a few flags that had circles in them. How would you imagine drawing this flag? This is the Georgia flag, if you don't know. And the Georgia flag looks like this. It's got these four pluses, and then it's got this big set of stripes right in the middle. Now, how could you draw this? On some level, the answer is you could do this without functions, right? This is just one rectangle, two rectangles, three rectangles, four rectangles, five rectangles, six rectangles, seven rectangles, eight rectangles, nine rectangles, 10 rectangles. You could sit down, do some math, and just create your 10 rectangles one after another. But we're getting to the point where we're starting to write some more elegant programs, and I think you get the sense that there's probably a more elegant way to do this. In fact, instead of thinking about it as drawing 10 rectangles, I think it's more natural to think of it as you're drawing four pluses. There's no draw plus on Canvas. There's no create plus on Canvas, but now you can create your own functions. You could make the draw plus. So to be clear, in this Georgia flag, there could be four calls to our draw plus. There's one call to draw this plus, a second call to draw this plus, a third call to draw this plus, and a fourth call to draw this plus. And to be clear, when we call these pluses, there's something that's changing each time. It's not the color, it's always red. It's not the thickness, well, maybe we could say that, but the thing that's really changing is the position. You could define the position of a plus in lots of different ways. I decided to define it the same way we define a rectangle, where you give the top left corner and the bottom right corner. Drawing the Georgia flag, though, is really about drawing those four pluses and then drawing this background. And at this moment, a few people might be wondering, like, the background looks a little familiar. It looks like something that I recognize. It's a plus. This is like totally insane, completely useful piece of information. But check this out. This background itself is a massive plus, just with a different thickness and different dimensions. This plus goes from this corner down to this corner. How cool is this? So this is the advanced version. I'm going to include the code in your draw flags for those who are interested in it. But the point here is just to really inspire you to want to create your own functions. So I defined my own function. It was called draw plus. Draw plus would draw one of these pluses, and you would just say, here's the bounding box of the plus, so the top left corner and the bottom right corner. And the width is how thick do you want these rectangles to be? I wrote that function, and I wrote it in a reusable way that anytime you want a plus, you could just call it, and it'll always give you a red plus. So drawing the Georgia flag doesn't look like drawing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rectangles anymore. It now looks like 5 pluses, which is so much more intuitive to read. This plus draws that shape. This plus draws that shape. This plus draws that shape, and this plus draws that shape. Now, as I said, the math isn't really the point, and there is a little bit of math that went into figuring out exactly where to put each of these pluses. The point really is the breaking down of a big problem to smaller ones. But necessarily, each plus had a different location. So it was imperative that when I defined draw plus, I had the mechanism for it to take in the different locations where I'd want to draw it. And this is just like total icing on the cake. This is not necessary, but it is very beautiful. This thing here is just one more call to draw plus. And the bounding box is from 0, 0 to canvas width, canvas height, and it's just a slightly thicker plus. Amazing. Go check out the code if you want the advanced version. You want to see how I define draw plus.